Look up at the sky on a warm spring day, 66 million years ago. The sun is shining, birds are chirping. Dinosaurs roam the forests completely unaware. Today is their last day on Earth. In the next 24 hours, 75% of all species will vanish forever. This is the story of the worst day in Earth's history, and it almost wiped out everything. The late Cretaceous period was a paradise. Earth was warm, lush, and full of life. Tyrannosaurus rex ruled as the apex predator. Triceratops grazed in massive herds. Pterosaurs soared through the skies. The oceans teemed with mosasaurs and ammonites. Flowering plants had recently evolved, painting the world with color. It had been like this for millions of years. Life was stable. Life was thriving. No one suspected that a clock was ticking. Far out in space, something was coming, and it was moving very, very fast. 66 million years ago, a mountain-sized rock was cruising through deep space. It was about 10 kilometers across. That's roughly the size of Mount Everest. Scientists call it the Chicxulub impactor. We do not know exactly where it came from. It might have been a fragment from the asteroid belt, or perhaps a rogue comet from the outer solar system. Whatever its origin, it had been traveling for millions of years. Its speed was staggering, 20 kilometers per second. That's 72,000 kilometers per hour. At that speed, it could cross the entire United States in under 4 minutes, and it was on a collision course with Earth. As the asteroid entered our atmosphere, it would have looked like a second sun, brighter than anything humans have ever witnessed. It would have been visible for thousands of kilometers, but there was nowhere to hide. There was nowhere to run. The dinosaurs had no telescopes. They had no warning systems. They had no idea what was about to happen. Some might have looked up. Some might have felt a strange warmth. Then came the impact. The asteroid struck what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The force of the impact was beyond comprehension. It released energy equivalent to billions of nuclear bombs. The crater it carved was 150 kilometers wide and 30 kilometers deep. Within seconds, everything within 1,000 kilometers was annihilated. The blast wave traveled at supersonic speeds. Forests were flattened instantly. Rivers instantly vaporized. The ground itself melted into liquid rock. A fireball rose into the sky, engulfing half the planet in flame. The immediate destruction was catastrophic, but the real horror was just beginning. The impact sent trillions of tons of rock and debris into the atmosphere. This material wasn't just dust. It included tiny beads of glass. These glass spherules formed from molten rock that cooled as it fell. They rained down across the entire planet. Temperatures near the impact site exceeded 10,000 degrees. That's hotter than the surface of the sun. Even thousands of kilometers away, the heat was unbearable. Animals that survived the blast would have been broiled alive. Wildfires erupted across every continent, not just forests burned. The very air itself seemed to ignite. Soot and ash choked the skies. Sunlight was blocked out completely. For the first time in millions of years, day became night. But this was not an ordinary darkness. It lasted for months, maybe years. Plants that relied on sunlight began to die. And when plants die, everything that eats plants follows. The food chain was unraveling in real time. The impact happened in shallow ocean waters. This was catastrophic for coastlines around the world. Mega tsunamis were generated. Some waves may have been over 1 kilometer high. They slammed into North America. They surged across Europe. They reached deep into continents that no longer exist. Fossil evidence shows massive deposits of ocean sediment far inland. Entire ecosystems along coastlines were simply erased. Fish, marine reptiles, and ammonites were washed away by the millions. The oceans were in turmoil, and the worst was still to come. The impact triggered earthquakes of unimaginable magnitude. Some estimates suggest magnitudes above 11. That's far beyond anything recorded in human history. The ground shook so violently that entire mountain ranges shifted. But the earthquakes were just the beginning. The impact also reactivated volcanoes across the globe. The Deccan Traps in India were already erupting. Now they exploded with renewed fury. Massive lava flows covered thousands of square kilometers. Toxic gases poured into the atmosphere. Sulfur dioxide mixed with the ash and dust already choking the sky. Within days, Earth was wrapped in a blanket of darkness. Temperatures began to plummet. The sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere created acid rain. This acid rain was devastating. It poisoned lakes and rivers. It destroyed marine ecosystems. It burned plants that had somehow survived the fires. The ocean became increasingly acidic. Marine organisms with shells began to dissolve. Coral reefs collapsed. The pterosaurs that hunted fish over the oceans starved. The mosasaurs that ruled the seas lost their prey. The months after the impact brought a phenomenon called impact winter. Without sunlight, global temperatures dropped by as much as 20 degrees Celsius. Tropical forests froze. Rivers turned to ice. Any dinosaurs that survived the initial chaos now faced freezing temperatures. Large dinosaurs were especially vulnerable. They needed enormous amounts of food to survive. With plants dead and ecosystems collapsed, starvation was inevitable. Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of dinosaurs, would have wandered a frozen wasteland, searching for food that no longer existed, until finally it too succumbed. Not everything died. Some creatures did survive. Smaller animals had advantages that large dinosaurs lacked. They needed less food. They could burrow underground. They could hibernate through the cold. Mammals at this time were mostly small shrew-like creatures. They scurried through the underbrush, eating insects and seeds. Birds, which were already evolving from small dinosaurs, also survived. Some turtles, crocodiles, and amphibians endured. Life found a way to cling on, but the world they inherited was shattered. The extinction was incredibly selective. Animals over 25 kilograms simply disappeared. No large land animal survived. On land, only creatures smaller than a cat made it through. In the oceans, the devastation was even worse. Ammonites, those beautiful spiral-shelled creatures, went extinct. The plesiosaurs and mosasaurs vanished. Even many types of plankton were wiped out. But some groups thrived in the aftermath. Sharks survived, crocodiles survived, and most importantly, mammals survived. They inherited a world emptied of giants. How do we know all of this? Scientists have pieced together this story from remarkable evidence. The most famous clue is the iridium layer. Iridium is rare on Earth but common in asteroids. In 1980, geologists discovered a thin layer of iridium in rocks worldwide. This layer dates precisely to 66 million years ago. It marks the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods. We call it the K-Piggy boundary. Below this layer, dinosaurs are everywhere in the fossil record. Above this layer, dinosaurs are gone. The iridium layer is the fingerprint of an asteroid. In 1990, scientists identified the Chicxulub crater. It sits buried beneath Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. The crater is so large that it was not recognized for decades. It stretches 150 kilometers across. Drilling into the crater revealed shocked quartz. This mineral only forms under extreme pressure, the kind of pressure created by a 10-kilometer asteroid slamming into Earth. The crater also contains a layer of melted rock. This melt rock matches the glass spherules found worldwide. The evidence is overwhelming. An asteroid killed the dinosaurs. Here is the most unsettling truth. The asteroid strike was not inevitable. It was a cosmic accident. If the asteroid had arrived 30 minutes earlier, it would have missed Earth. If it had arrived 30 minutes later, it might have landed in the deep ocean. The effects would still have been catastrophic, but perhaps not as deadly. If the asteroid had struck a different location, life might have recovered faster. The shallow waters of the Yucatan made the impact especially devastating. They vaporized massive amounts of sulfate-rich rock. This is what caused the long darkness and the acid rain. A cosmic lottery was played, and Earth lost. Life on Earth did eventually recover, but it took time, lots of time. Scientists estimate that ecosystems needed millions of years to rebound. The first few 100,000 years were bleak. Fungi dominated the landscape. They thrived on all the dead matter. Eventually, ferns and other hardy plants began to regrow. New species evolved to fill empty niches. Mammals began to diversify. Over the next 10 million years, they grew larger and more varied. Without dinosaurs dominating every ecosystem, mammals had their chance. And they seized it. The extinction of the dinosaurs is one of the most important events in Earth's history. It cleared the stage for mammals, which cleared the stage for primates, which cleared the stage for humans. Without that asteroid, dinosaurs might still rule the Earth today. Intelligent life might never have evolved. We owe our existence to a random cosmic collision. Think about that. Every human achievement, every civilization, every thought you have ever had exists because a rock fell from the sky 66 million years ago. This is not just ancient history. Asteroids still threaten Earth today. NASA tracks thousands of near-Earth objects. Some are large enough to cause another extinction. We have identified most of the civilization-ending asteroids, but not all of them. Smaller asteroids could still devastate regions or cause global crop failures. The dinosaurs had no warning. They had no defense. We do. Space agencies are developing asteroid deflection missions. If we spot a threat early enough, we could nudge it off course. Knowledge is our shield. Technology is our weapon. The day the dinosaurs died teaches us something profound. Life on Earth is fragile. Our planet exists in a cosmic shooting gallery. The same forces that shaped our world can destroy it. In a single day, everything changed. The mighty T-Rex, the gentle Triceratops, The soaring pteranodon, all gone, wiped out in an instant. Their only crime was being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So the next time you look up at the night sky, remember the dinosaurs. Remember how quickly everything can change. And remember that our existence is a gift built on cosmic chance. Thank you for watching, and keep looking up.